Richard Baxton piloted his recon rover into a fungal vortex and held off 4 waves of mindworms, saving an entire colony. We immediately purchased his identity manifests and repackaged him into the Recon Rover Rick character with a multi-tiered media campaign. Televids, touchbooks, holos, sci-tours, the works. People need heroes. They don't need to know how he died clawing his eyes out, screaming for mercy. The real story would just hurt sales and dampen the spirits of our customers.
Welcome to What You Want Gaming Alpha Centauri. Alpha Centauri was released in the year 1999 by Firaxis, most known for their Civilization series. Alpha Centauri plays a lot like the older Civilization games, and even though its dated UI and clunky systems can be bothersome, the game delivers solid gameplay and an unbeatable atmosphere. I first played Alpha Centauri around 2016. I had loved the old Civ games like 3 and Beyond the Sword. Alpha Centauri did look dated, but it seemed like it offered a lot, and I wasn't wrong. Alpha Centauri gets a lot of things right. The voice acting and sound design are better than most things to come out now.
It is every citizen's final duty to go into the tanks and to become one with all the people. Chairman Shen Jiyang. Ethics for tomorrow.
Stay calm. Use your flame guns, shouted the commander, but to no avail. It is well known that the mind worm boil uses psychic terror to paralyze its prey, and then carefully implants ravenous larvae in the brains of its still conscious victims.
Holy crap! Unlocking wonders with cinematics made competing to build them more exhilarating. Even in a 4X game, Firaxis was able to tell multiple stories in effective and chilling ways.
It is altogether fitting that we who have sailed the deeps of space now return again to the sea. This is in many ways a water planet, and it can be ruled from the waves. With sea power, rugged terrain can be bypassed and enemy strongholds isolated. Once naval superiority is achieved, planet is ours for the taking. Colonel Corazon Santiago, Planet, a survivalist guide.
Alpha Centauri draws you in with an expansive technology tree, customizable units, and diplomacy. You'll need a focus when you first start playing. The UI is not as modern as some would like it to be, so give yourself time to understand the layout and the organization of cities. This video will have a lot of side tangents because while writing this, it's hard not to put everything on paper. Even the organization of cities tell a story. It's fantastic world building. In Civilization, you'll have happiness of citizens to worry about, but in this world, you'll have to worry about drone riots. With all the descriptive lore from completing buildings and technologies, it really paints a vivid picture of what life is like for citizens. And it is not good.
The Warriors' bland acronym MMI obscures the true horror of this monstrosity. Its inventors promise a new era of genius, but meanwhile unscrupulous power brokers use its forcible installation to violate the sanctity of unwilling human minds. They are creating their own private army of demons.
I really wish they would add back city zoom to games like in Civilization 3. That was a great way to visually show the player's progress through different times and technologies. Anyways, every choice in this game develops the story organically. You research more about plants and trees? Well, they want to talk to you too. Have you tinkered with biology too much? Well, you might produce the creepiest child's rhyme in history.
A handsome young cyborg named Ace wooed women at every base. But once ladies glanced at his special enhancement, they vanished with nary a trace. Barracks graffiti, Sparta command.
It blends into the customization aspect of the game as well. When you research new technologies, they might provide you with better gear. You'll have to outfit your different troops with the latest laser gun or chaos gun. Whatever that is. I have Chaos Marines? Interesting. Alpha Centauri has your basic Firaxis combat. By land, air, or sea, you're going to get bombed. A lot. Combat is kind of daunting when you first start playing. Honestly, just moving troops around was a pain in the butt. The AI in turns move quickly, so if you accidentally press spacebar, you might see a lot of fast movement and not know what's going on. Combat is fun and some decent weapon effects, but nothing to write home about. Diplomacy also is nothing new. You have your faction leaders, each playing to certain styles or attitudes. You can disable that in the custom rules, but I don't see a point. Another quick thing in custom rules is that you should tick off the box for blind research. Going back to diplomacy, it can be used to trade technologies, create vendettas, and trade currency. There's some great writing in these datacoms, and some weirdly applicable to this day and age. That's another thing that Alpha Centauri gets right, and it might be the scariest thing about the game. Alpha Centauri was released right before 2000, meaning that everything past that point was their thoughts and imaginations. And oh boy, they weren't that far off.
What do I care for your suffering? Pain, even agony, is no more than information before the senses, data fed to the computer of the mind. The lesson is simple. You have received the information. Now act on it.
Isn't this how everyone uses VR? Just me? Okay. That's another thing I love about Alpha Centauri. Its use of old quotes with the new lens of being on an alien planet.
If you can discover a better way of life than office holding for your future rulers, a well-governed city becomes a possibility. For only in such a state will those rule who are truly rich, not in gold, but in the wealth that makes happiness, a good and wise life. Plato, The Republic, Data Links.
Little screens show you snippets of Earth and of civilization on Alpha Centauri, connecting the player to what they would know. Good sci-fi does that. They make something so futuristic or improbable feel so real by mirroring humanity. It's a grim picture that Alpha Centauri depicts, and your choices, whether through technology or government actions, can feel heavy at most times. Choosing research is interesting and fun, especially reading over the devious or empowering effects each tech has. In a world where scientific ethics are sacrificed, the game does not just tell you, but shows you how messed up things can get.
Enemy project initiated.
Some civilian workers got in among the research patients today and became so hysterical I felt compelled to have them nerve stapled. The consequence, of course, will be another public relations nightmare. But I was severely shaken by the extent of their revulsion towards a project so vital to our survival. CEO Nwabuda K. Morgan, The Personal Diary.
The faction leaders themselves have a lot of rich lore and character around them. A lot of them voice certain technologies that fall under their ideologies. I found this really neat and would love for other games to replicate this kind of stuff. I really felt like I was going against a religious fanatic or a greedy trillionaire. So what do you want? If you want a solid 4X game with stunning atmosphere and intriguing lore, I would highly recommend looking into Sid Meier's Alpha Centauri. If older strategy games are not your fancy, I'd look elsewhere. If you don't think this game is for you but you do like sci-fi, I would look up the Wonder cinematics on YouTube. Some of them are extremely intense and well produced. If you are picking up the game, I highly recommend looking up a tutorial or a let's play to get started. You're in for a treat. Thank you so much for watching. I truly appreciate everyone that spends the time, and I always appreciate the comments, questions, and your thoughts on the game or the review. And as always, what you want gaming.